What's up guys, welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name is Gregson, and in today's video we are going to dive into the all-new 2022 Golf R from Volkswagen. And what we're going to do is try to answer the question of, has the Golf R, at least this new one, ruined all hot hatches forever? In this video, I'll go over what to look for on the new Golf R as a whole, since this one is a brand new vehicle from Volkswagen. We'll also be going over everything you need to know about it. Things like engine type and power output, key features and tech, and what it will mean to the VW brand as a whole. And at the end, I'll also give you my personal opinion on this car, because I've actually driven about 6 different versions of the Golf over the past few years, including a basic Golf, a GTI, and the previous generation R, all in both automatic and manual variants. And hey, you know, if you've seen our videos before and you keep coming back on the regular, or if you just liked this one at the end, please consider giving it a thumbs up or even subscribing to the channel. It's totally free and it really helps us to continue to grow the channel and keep making cool car content for you guys. Now, it's funny actually about the Golf R. Not a ton of people think about it as a super serious hot hatch. Mostly because it goes against a big part of that hot hatch ethos. And what is that exactly? Well, it's affordability. Originally, the hot hatch was supposed to be this thing that gives you oodles of performance on the cheap. And that's still attainable with the Subaru WRX, though that's not a hot hatch anymore, but it was at one point, and I own one, so shut up, I'm counting it. The Volkswagen GTI, or even the Honda Civic Si. You also have new entrants into this realm, like the Hyundai Veloster N and the Civic Type R, which is new here in the US with the last gen Civic. And there are even more options that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But the point is, all of these super fun little cars can be had for around $25,000 to $35,000. And while that sounds like a lot, it's really not right now. The average price of a new car is over $43,000, which means that everything I just mentioned is a relative performance bargain. Now, what's the price of the Golf R, you may be asking? Well, that's a great question, intelligent and attractive viewer. Don't forget to subscribe. And well, wouldn't you know it, it's just shy of $44,000 at $43,645 MSRP, which really doesn't make the R very affordable. But for that nearly 44 grand, you get a lot of cool stuff and a car that can basically do everything. First off, is a 315 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, 2-liter turbocharged engine, which gives you a 27 horsepower advantage over the last generation. And that last generation was around in 2019. Yes, the Golf R has taken a few years off, but it's back. That horsepower bump isn't a ton, but 30-ish horsepower on a 2019 model is a very mild tune, so it's a welcome increase to an already quick platform. What's interesting here is that the VW press release says 295 pound-feet of torque, yet Car and Driver claims 310 pound-feet. So we'll have to wait and see what independent testing says as the new Rs hit the market. You also, thankfully, have a gearbox choice in this Golf R as you have in the past. You can choose either a 6-speed manual or an optional 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Both should be good boxes, but if you're using your hot hatch for more enthusiast things like driving on back roads for the majority of the time, we recommend opting to row your own. The Golf R also comes standard with VW's well-known 4-motion all-wheel drive system that features a rear differential that can distribute torque through a vectoring system between the left and right rear wheels for improved handling in real time. The Golf R has selectable drive modes, which are Comfort, Sport, Race, Special, Drift, and Individual, that can be activated by pressing the quote-unquote R button on the steering wheel. And yes, we said drift. There is a drift mode here, and it's awesome that it even has that. And without even driving it, we know this won't replace or replicate a rear-wheel drive car's tail-happy persona, but it should be a reasonably fun party trick. Also, every Golf R comes with a sport exhaust system, variable ratio steering, larger front brakes than the previous generation, and a set of 19-inch wheels with summer performance tires. On top of all the performance bits, there's a lot more on this car that makes it a significant upgrade from the outgoing R. The interior has really been one of the biggest selling points of this car in the past, and that doesn't stop here. If you compare it to the WRX, which is a main rival, the Golf R has always been many levels above in material quality, ergonomics, and design. That's no different with the new one, as the 2022 Golf R's interior is sportier than the last version, copies the GTI's overall aesthetic, and looks like just the best hot hatch place to be. Upon entry, you'll grab a thick-rimmed steering wheel with touch-sensitive controls that control the 10.2-inch digital gauge cluster that has some configurable layouts. You can't get the plaid seats like in the GTI, but you do have Napa leather-wrapped, heavily bolstered seats that will no doubt hug you like a glove in the twisties. These seats are exclusive to the Golf R and feature carbon look accents in the side sections along with an R logo in blue in the backrest. Other interior features are ambient lighting with a scarcely believable 30 different color options, stainless steel pedals, and more carbon accents throughout, though these aren't real carbon fiber. And just as we've seen on the new GTI when it came out, the Golf R's infotainment system will be the same 10-inch touchscreen mounted directly in the center of the dashboard. The touch-sensitive slider controls are different than the usual knobs and buttons, and that may turn some off. Expect Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to be standard here as well. And since this is a premium hatch, there will be a Harman Kardon premium sound system. So for your money, you get a lot of car. But at this point, I'm going to level with you. This version of the Golf R, I really think it's kind of peak hot hatch in that definition of what a hot hatch has been traditionally. And let me explain why. Every enthusiast loves a good hot hatch. If they don't, just stop being friends with them. They are in it for the scene points only. No, seriously, just delete them from your phone. Of course, I'm actually kidding here, but really hot hatches offer everything an enthusiast could ever want in a car. Responsive handling, great power to weight ratios, sports car quickness, and utility when you need it. The only thing better than a hot hatch is a hot wagon, but that's another video entirely, and honestly probably one I'm going to make in the future anyway, so stay tuned for that. But back to the topic at hand, when the hot hatch was born with the original GTI in the early 80s, everyone loved it, and it won the world over with its quirkiness and, for the time period, properly quick nature. Fast forward through many generations later, and you have this Golf R, which quite frankly will be fantastic. But the problem is that it's no longer an attainable thing for the younger crowd with less disposable income. I'm personally 37 years old with a family and a mortgage, but I'm also in the tax bracket where I can kind of go out and afford a Golf R at $44,000. The 25-year-old lusting after the hot hatch, the same age group that the Mark I GTI was geared towards, likely cannot afford this Golf R. Now, of course, that end of the market still has the cheaper GTI, and with a tune and some go-fast bits, it's a hell of a hot hatch. So why does this Golf R even exist then? Well, really, it's about market hyper-niching, and we've all seen that recently with BMW and Mercedes sort of diluting their lineups into niche segments that never existed before. For example, the X4 and X6 from BMW. Those are terrible. No one on earth could have predicted a market segment that wanted a raised coupe sedan thing, yet here we are. The Golf R is this same sort of hyper-niching, but not to the extent of cars that no one really respects or wants. It doesn't really need to exist, honestly, but it's there for the 30-somethings that still want a hot hatch, want more power than a GTI, but also want something a bit nicer than a GTI, WRX, or Civic Si. Those are all good cars, but the Golf R is that next step up, but not in the same way that the STI is to the WRX or the Type R is to the Civic Si. The R is way more refined and doesn't have that more expensive but still naughty aura about it. It's a borderline luxury hatchback, and even that's now more of a thing than ever with the Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG and Audi RS3. Has the Golf R ruined the hot hatch market? Not entirely, no, but it does beg the question, where will it end? Because VW is supposed to be the affordable brand, and when they're offering a $44,000 hot hatch, it just seems to go against the entire ethos of that niche. The Ford Focus RS was a great example of this. Before its discontinuation, it was in the same realm as this, price-wise, but that car was at least still a bit of a hooligan. The Golf R is refined to the point where you almost don't want to take it to the track, and that's a shame. However, with me, I'm in this 30-something age range that they want to target with the Golf R, and I can conclusively say that I want this car badly. It's attractive, it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be just a fun hot hatch to drive, and that ticks all of the right boxes for me as an enthusiast in this age range. This may be peak hot hatch not only due to the pricing and all of the points I just made, but also because the manual transmission won't be around forever, and is a hot hatch really one without it? What do you guys think? Is the Golf R the end of the hot hatch revolution? Is this Golf R sort of the go-between between the GTI and the Audi and Mercedes? Does that really need to exist? Are we beginning to see something even more interesting come into the fold? Let me know in the comments. I really would love to hear from all of you on this topic. It's been burning in my brain for the better part of a year. And well, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching and listening to my ramblings. It honestly means a lot that you guys watch these, and if you did enjoy this one, please consider watching some of our other videos that we do. We make tons of videos about new car reviews, other what to know videos, consumer advice recommendations, and automotive news. If you'd like to see any of those, check the description below for playlists of everything we do. And with that said, I hope that this video does help you in making your potential buying decision for the Golf R a bit easier, or has even made you a better informed enthusiast. If you want to follow us outside of YouTube, you can find us at Shifting Lanes on Facebook and Instagram, where we post about cars we review, our personal cars, and industry news and adventures. Again, my name is Gregson. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time.